So what if I told you there are only 3 things that are currently preventing you from growing your creative business faster, having more money, having more free time, and finding better clients? I've been lucky enough to hang out with some very successful business owners and entrepreneurs over the last few years. People that have built multiple 7-figure businesses, but more importantly, doing things that they actually love and having a real impact with the kind of clients they want to be working with. And because I'm curious and because I'm a coach, I'm always looking for what is it that these people are doing differently to the creative business owners that I speak to who are struggling, or maybe they're just not growing as fast as they want to. And they're kind of doing okay, but they want to get to that next level. And so in this video, I want to share with you 3 fundamental beliefs that I see that are the difference between someone who grows a successful creative business quickly, finds the kind of clients they want to work with, and has an abundance of financial opportunities versus the people who are maybe stagnating or have hit a bit of a plateau and they aren't growing as fast as they want to. So, the first belief, and the thing that I see a lot of people struggling with, and I think this is probably programming from school and from society, because I know that I have definitely had this in my own life, but the first belief is that we have to have all of the resources before we actually take action. So a really classic example of this, and something that I used to believe, is I have to have the money in the bank before I make a decision or commit to something like hiring a marketing person, working with a coach, investing in a lead generation company, like whatever the thing is that I wanted to do. I believe that if I didn't have that full amount in my bank account, then I shouldn't do it. And the reason this is such a limiting belief is because it's always chicken and egg. So let's use lead generation as an example. If right now you're struggling to generate the interest that you want in your business, or you're struggling to find the kind of clients that you want and charge the kind of money that you want, well, the thing that's going to help you get that is somebody's knowledge and time and information and implementation. And so if you say, like, I have to have enough money to afford that person before I actually decide to work with them, or before I commit to work with them, then you're constantly just going to be stuck in that loop. And so what I've noticed hanging out with entrepreneurs, hanging out with really successful people, is they don't have that belief. They believe that they need to decide what they want, and then they find a way to get that. And that's often with other people's resources, either other people's money, or they find a way to leverage that decision. So I'll give you a really tangible example. I was having lunch with Daniel Priestley a few weeks ago. For those of you who don't know Daniel Priestley, he's a best-selling author. He built one of Australia's fastest growing companies when he was about 21 years old. He's an extremely successful entrepreneur. And he was telling me the story, and telling a group of us a story, about how he started his business in the UK. And he came over from Australia with nothing but a credit card and a suitcase. And so one of the things that he wanted to launch was this events company. So rather than going and waiting until he had the right number of clients, or the right amount of money in his bank account, or the right team, he went out there and started looking externally for the resources, i.e. he became resourceful. He went out there and said, well, if I could get this person to agree to speak, then I know then that would attract this sponsor. And if this sponsor was there, then they would help with some advertising, and started to piece the things together externally. And I've noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs do this. For example, if they want to build a team and they don't necessarily have the investment or the capital, they will go and find ways to influence and incentivize people to join their mission and to join in what they're doing that aren't necessarily financial incentives. And you see this with big companies like Facebook and Google and all these kind of businesses that started out of a garage. You often hear this story. People were working for shares in the business. They were working, doing favor swaps and things like that. And it's very much a mindset thing. I had to have this switch for myself, and I actually ended up working with a very successful business person, one of my mentors. And when I first did that, when I first invested with them, I had nowhere near the money that they were asking for. And so first of all, the first thing I agreed was a payment plan. The second thing I agreed was, if I couldn't pay him or I didn't get results, could I come and work with them to kind of pay some of that back, and basically formed this offer, which allowed me to go and get help and get advice growing my business, even though I didn't have the money in the account. So that's the first belief that keeps most people stuck. I have to have this thing before I take that leap. And just to kind of build on this quickly, is a really similar one that I see with our clients. So we often work with agency owners who are very overwhelmed because they've got lots of work on and they've got lots of clients paying them small amounts. And so what that means is they're constantly busy. And they say things to me like, oh, when I just get another big client, then I'll drop some of these smaller ones. And I have to tell them that's not how it works. You have to make the decision to go out and get bigger clients first and let these smaller ones go so that you can make room and make capacity for it. So it's kind of playing on this belief, on this similar belief. I have to have this thing before I make this decision, or I have to have the end result, the outcome, before I commit to this thing. And it's a backwards way of thinking, and successful business owners and successful entrepreneurs do not think like that. They make the decision first, they commit to the thing first, and then they go and find a way to make it happen. So essentially, like letting go of that safety net, if you like, putting yourself out into the wild, going and getting that thing, and letting go of the perceived security. So that's belief number one. I have to have this thing, money, time, client, whatever it is, before I make a decision to go and get the next thing. And that's a backwards way of thinking. So belief number one. Belief number two that I see keeps a lot of people stuck is I have to do this on my own, or I should do this on my own. Now, obviously, if you're running a creative business, you might have other team members, you might have, other designers or other developers that you work with. So I'm not so much talking about not having a team. I'm talking about you as a business owner wanting to do everything yourself in terms of finding the information, going out there, getting the clients, wanting to kind of do it all off your own back. And I used to have this, and I think it's an ego thing. I think it's a thing where we're like, I want to prove to myself that I can do this on my own. And again, it's a very backwards way of thinking, because if you look at a lot of the most successful people, if you go and ask them, they always had a mentor or a coach or somebody who was guiding them from the early days. And if you listen, especially people like Alex Hormozi, who's very popular at the moment, but if you listen to anybody in that space, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, like whoever you follow, what you'll notice is that they think it's stupid to go and try and figure everything out on your own. Why do that when you can pay someone, or you can read a book or get help from somebody who's already been there and done that, or who already has that level of experience? And so often I'll see like creative business owners kind of going out there and just thinking they have to do everything on their own. Like, oh, I need to figure out how to do marketing. I need to figure out how to do sales. I need to figure out how to run a team and build SOPs and all of this stuff, where there's someone that's already been there and done that. And there's somebody that can like coach you and guide you through that process. So lean on those resources. And there's like so much incredible stuff out there at the moment. And there's so many people who are, there that you can lean on and that you can get help from. So it's a really, really important aspect, and it's a really, really important belief to not have to do everything on your own. Think about, you don't want to be the smartest person in that room or even in your team. Like if you're the smartest person in your company, then you haven't employed the right people. So that's belief number two, thinking that you have to do everything on your own. The third belief, and maybe even one of the most important, is I will do that when, or now is not the right time. So let's take the example of marketing and sales. Often what I hear from people is, I will go and create my marketing plan, or I will go out there and get more sales, or learn how to market better, or learn how to sell better when I'm less busy. Like, oh, we're really busy with client fulfillment at the moment. We're really busy doing this. We're really busy doing that. When we have a break or downtime, then I will do X. And it's a kind of belief that often transfers through people's lives. It can transfer into other areas of their lives, like health and fitness. Like, oh, when I get to this point, I will start working out more. Or, oh, when I do, the new year is always a classic example, right? When January comes around, I'll do this. And it's a really dangerous belief because, especially with sales and marketing, really what happens is you're busy and you kind of end up building somebody else's business. You kind of end up building your client's business rather than building your own. And you stay busy, then another project comes along and you're like, oh, I have a bit of downtime, but now we've got to put out this fire. And you stay stuck in this place where your business is being built by default rather than by design. And so one of the most important beliefs that I switched for myself is the best time to start something new, or the best time to fix something, is when you are the busiest. And if you can install that mindset, it means that your business is always going to progress and you're always going to put your business first rather than putting other people's priorities and other people's businesses first. And it's such a huge mindset shift, and it will show up in your life and your business in some incredible ways. When you learn to prioritize yourself, prioritize your business, and prioritize the things that are actually going to move the needle, like sales and marketing, over just making your client's business better, then everything will change for you and you'll start to see some results that you probably just haven't seen before in your business. So they're the three beliefs. They're the things that I see being the biggest difference between people who are kind of stuck at a plateau and maybe haven't seen the speed of growth that they want, and the ones who are flying and the ones who are continually getting better clients, or who seem to continue to be growing and, you know, bringing on new team members, working on cool things. And those three key elements. Okay, so the first one is I need to have the resource before I make the decision or before I take the action. So the best way to fix this is just to reverse these, right? So like I need to take that action, I need to make that decision because I don't have the resource. So that's the most important reason to do it. So that's the way to just do it, is just flip these around. And at first it's going to feel weird, but what happens is once you start trying these beliefs on, your brain will actually find evidence to support that. Right now, all you've got is evidence to support the current belief that you have. Belief number 2 was I need to do this all on my own. So if we swap that round, it's I should get help. And again, look at high-performing sports people, look at musicians, look at people who are at the top of their industry. They've all got coaches, they've all got support teams. And in fact, if you look at a lot of sports out there which are like individual sports, like tennis, like running, like whatever, like golf, a lot of those people will actually train in groups. They will train in kind of squads and train together because they want to surround themselves with people who are better than them. They want to surround themselves with people who are performing at a high level to force themselves to perform at that level. So don't try and do everything on your own. Always make sure that you surround yourself with people who can get you there faster. You don't want to be the smartest person in that room. The third and final thing is I can't do this because I'm busy right now, or I will do this when. So switch that belief around. The most important time to work on my business is when I'm the busiest, when we have the most clients, when things are going crazy. That's the most important time to actually carve out space for yourself and for your business, and to implement a strategy to get things moving. Because if you can do that when you're the busiest, then you can definitely do it when you have spare time. I hope that was useful. Like all of these things, if you just hear these ideas and don't really do anything with them, then it's probably not going to have an impact. But if you actually take these ideas and notice, first of all, do I have that belief? Is that how I think? Because just remember, like, the way that you think determines the way that you behave. The way that you behave and make decisions determines the results that you get, and that reinforces the way that you think. So there's a couple of options here. Number one, you can just reverse the belief. Number two, we have something called the limiting belief crusher. And it's actually a exercise, a framework, and a training that I've designed. I'll put the link to that in the description below. If you'd like to use that tool on these beliefs, it's a really powerful tool. We've had some incredible case studies from using that tool. It's totally free. You can have it. It could be transformational for your life and business. So if you want to grab a copy of that, click the link below. I hope you found this video useful. As always, hit the subscribe and follow button if you did. My name is Matt Essam. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.